Good morning, everybody. Great to see such a good turnout. My name is Ian Williams from the University of Southampton, and this is...
Hello, I'm Rebecca Kennedy from Southern Water.
So we're going to be doing a joint presentation at the beginning of our presentation this morning, and then I will take over and finish off. So our presentation is about how you apply circular economy thinking to industry, and we're using a water company, Southern Water. And this is going to be a very unusual presentation because, as Paul said at the beginning, there's an awful lot of training involved in this and peer-to-peer learning. And in this particular case, we have an industrial partner working with academics, postdocs, and undergraduate students. So this is where we've given a real problem, industry-based problem, to undergraduate students to solve. And I'm going to explain how we did it with the help of Rebecca. So we're going to just introduce you a little bit to Southern Water and its operations because they're our key partner. There's no project without them being involved. And Rebecca will talk a little bit about Southern Water's plan for a strategic partnership with universities. And then I'll take on and explain to you a little bit about the project that we're going to describe today.
Hello, so as you know, Southern Water is a very large company. We have an incredibly high turnover in terms of the wastewater that we produce and treat. We have more than 365 wastewater treatment works for our many, many customers. And we also work in a water scarce region, which is comparable to some of the highly water scarce regions in the world. Traditionally, Southern Water and water companies in general have treated their wastewater and water streams as completely separate, which going forward is not something that we can do, which is why circular economy is so important to Southern Water as a concept and will lead to the innovations that we hope to get into the future. So currently we are working to build up our capabilities to even do concepts such as circular economy. So now we are building up our capabilities, and within the next 10 years we hope to have circular economy built into how we do business generally, along with sustainable development and alternative processes, to in the future have these concepts built into the central core of our operations and how we do business generally. And for working with Southampton, as Ian has said, is important to how we want to work. That was quite slow. We need to build partnerships with our local academics and other partnerships, and Southampton is key in this as they are a large player in the environment and circular economy, and working with them gives us access to local and top-level researchers. I'll hand over to you to discuss why we did it.
Thank you, Rebecca. You may want to sit down now and stand up. So, where's Paul? Give us a wave, Paul. I can't see you. Paul Kemp. He's legged it, is he? Okay. What a disgrace. Our leader has disappeared, people. We should heckle him when he comes back, all right? But Paul is great at organising these sort of events, and a couple of years ago he organised a kind of quick speed dating event between academics and industry. And at that event, I stood up and I said, well, I do a bit on the circular economy, and the Southern Water representatives present came and had a chat with me. And as a result, we worked up a project that was originally to look at how circular economy thinking could be applied to Southern Water as a company. So we did this scoping report, and their priority at the time was to look at wastewater activities, and the second stage is to look at potable water. And we're going to move into the second stage probably early next year. So, along with my colleague Kieran Roberts and also Pete Shaw, and with Rebecca and Barry from Southern Water, we undertook this project. And I said to Southern Water, do you know what? It would be great if we could involve our undergraduate students, because they would get a lot of benefit from this. And they said, great, bring it on, why not? So we actually ran 2 projects in parallel. The professionals, in inverted commas, myself and Kieran particularly, did the real project for Southern Water, and our undergraduate students were set exactly the same project to do in parallel to see what would happen. And so we had 2 sets of researchers, if you like, the professionals and the trainees, and they had 10 weeks to do the same project that we had in a similar sort of time to do it. So, the job that we had and the students had was to look at Southern Water's processes to see how we could apply circular economy thinking to them. So it's too big a job for the students to do across Southern Water. So we picked on a particular site, the local one to Southampton, Brook, which you may know down by Dock 820. And we took 50 students on our 3rd year module. 50, I'll say that again, 50, that's a lot of students to take to a wastewater treatment plant. We organised a site visit to them. We set them the same brief that we were set. And their job was to identify all possible waste streams and then select 3 of them to investigate further to see how Southern Water could turn them into circular economy thinking. So there was a real focus on avoidance, reduction, recovery, reuse, and reprocessing. We also wanted them to take into account the environmental impacts and the economic impacts of doing this work, because if there is no reduction of environmental impacts and there's no cost savings, you do wonder what the point is of doing it. And we also wanted them to see if they could develop local industrial networks to see if one person's waste could become another person's treasure, as it were. And you can see some of the images of the students on our Millbrook site undertaking the site visits. So if you've never seen Millbrook, it looks a bit like this from the air. It's a site that was established in 1934, I think, so it's quite an old site and it's undertaken quite a lot of development. So the white areas there show where the sewage treatment from 140,000 households in Southampton comes into the plant, where it's screened, taken to primary treatment. The big area there is Southern Water's new BNR reactor, which has only been around for about 4 years. And then it goes on to tertiary treatment and then sludge digestion, and then the sludge is taken away and reapplied to agriculture or dried for other purposes. So there's some extraordinary statistics with this plant. You're looking at 70,000 litres a second going through it, millions of cubic metres a day passing through it. Just extraordinary, really, numbers. And of course it's on the coast. So of course the effluent can feed directly into the coastal waters with potential for pollution. So we had 50 final year and some master students involved. They had a variety of backgrounds, some with absolutely zero zilch, nothing background at all in waste. They knew diddly squat when they started. We asked them to produce quite a large report, 5,000 words. They had 10 weeks to do it from start to finish, from being given the assignment brief to make the site visit and to come up with their recommendations. And the collection of work from the students was synthesized and added to the work that we were doing professionally and presented back to Southern Water. I think Rebecca was present when we did that. And we collected together all the main executives from Southern Water. So this was not a trivial activity. So Southern Water took this very seriously, and they took the students' output seriously as well. The students obviously had support from the module team, but also from the Southern Water operational team, who were available to provide data and answer questions. And we created an online repository for the students to put their data, their photographs, and so they could share things and make maximum benefit from the industry cooperation. So these were the collective list of circular economy themes that students come out with, and you can see there's a very wide range of things that you could possibly put back into the circular economy from our excrement, because that's essentially what it is. Okay, so fats, oils and greases, metals, believe it or not, the screen solids and grits. When we went there, I reckon about a third of the screen solids was actually whole pieces of sweet corn. So I don't know what the people of Southampton are eating on a regular basis, but they're not digesting their sweet corn, I can assure you of that. A lot of chemical nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, obviously energy from anaerobic digestion, and we heard a bit about that from the previous speaker. Gravitational energy, which can be turned into actual energy through water wheels, and a whole range of other things there that are listed. They identified a range of local partnerships around the Millbrook area in the industrial parks, including West Quay, the refineries, and even housing bodies and the local council that we could work with. Now then, how did the students do? Because this is a hell of a challenge for an undergraduate student with no experience in waste at all. Now, what we found was that this actually achieved the aim of a Russell Group university, which is to stretch the students. So the very good students did very well, and the weaker students did not so well. And that's what you want to see. You want to see the students pulled out. You don't want to see all marks between 50 and 65%. You want the strong students getting higher marks, you want the weaker students getting weaker marks. And we definitely got this bipolar distribution. The work of the students was fact-checked, and where it was authenticated and added to the work that we generated, it was added to the report that we took to Southern Water and presented to them. And one of the direct outcomes of that meeting was that, as Rebecca said, Southern Water have now changed totally their business plan. The circular economy is now the #1 business focus for Southern Water, and that's as a direct result of this activity. So it shows what undergraduate students with the right support and industrial involvement can achieve. So, for the students' point of view, it's a real-world example. The strong students excelled, the weaker students didn't do quite so well. But either way, all the students got enormous benefits from working on a real-world problem. The weaker students suddenly understand what it's like to be in industry, what they need to do, how to lift themselves if they want to be employed in a major company like Southern Water. So they might not have got a massively great mark on the module, but by God, they learned an enormous amount. And from Kieran and my perspective, working on this project as the professionals, we got 50 additional researchers who were able to produce new ideas, new perspectives, and they definitely generated things that we hadn't thought of, or added value, added detail to the work that we thought of. So on top of that, we've had 2 MSc students who have recently presented their work in exciting areas, which we're looking to take forward in future, and we're looking to enhance our collaboration, move to the second stage, looking at potable water with Southern Water next year. And we really view this partnership with Southern Water as being a fantastic opportunity to show our students and for our own academics to work with a top-notch company and work together collaboratively to get a win-win-win situation. Thank you all very much for listening.